we have with us today Bobby Chakraborty sir. He's actor for the last 18 years in TV, films and theatre in Bengali, Hindi and English. He's academically a marine engineer for ExxonMobil, a teacher of method acting at SMPAI, social activist fighting against addiction and harmful popular trends among the youth all around the world, executive committee member of West Bengal Federation of United Nations Association. Welcome, sir.
We have seen the increase of addiction in the youth. So I would now request Bobby sir to please share his views upon the rising addiction in the youth, how we can handle it, and how can youth also take part in removing themselves or discontinuing the addiction process. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Jack. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Whatever I'm going to say, it's not something that I've heard or something that I've read or something somebody has advised me. Whatever I'm going to say, it's out of my own experience in my own life. I'm going to share my views on past, present, and future. What are my plans? So, starting with past, I was born into a family. It's an affluent family. It's a educated family. It's a respectable family. But these are not the yardsticks that a person should not be guided towards the dark side of life. Even being born in such a family, people are misguided towards the dark side of life. And that is exactly what happened with my younger uncle, who was a very good student, who was a very good sportsman. He was like a superstar in his school, in his college, in my family. And he was like my idol, whom I used to idol worship. So he fell into the wrong company at the age of 12, 13, 14, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. That is where it all starts from. One person comes with a cigarette and asks you, give one puff, yaar, ek puff dene mein kya hoega? One puff you give, you won't die. We don't realize that one puff translates into 100 puffs in no time. When we realize, it's too late. That is how it started with my younger uncle, Moni Kaka. And then as you grew older, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, somebody comes up and alcohol, one sip, are yaar, ek sip dena, kya hoega, kuch nahi hoega, ek sip dene se koi mar nahi jata hai. So it starts with one sip, one peg, and we don't realize that one sip, one peg translates into 100 pegs in no time. When we realize, it's too late. That is exactly what happened with my younger uncle, Moni Kaka. As we grow up, as he grew up, as we all grow up, we get two very strong weapons in our hands. We have independence and we have money. Boys and girls, young boys and girls who get derailed in life, actually they misuse those two weapons, independence and money. They misuse those two weapons, and that is how all the mishaps happen in their lives. And that is exactly what happened with Moni Kaka. He got independence, he got a lot of money from his home, pocket money, he got trust from his parents. He misused all of those. In the college, he started with the next parao or the next promotion, that a person who is being misguided in the dark life with the wrong company. He started doing drugs and he started doing gambling and all of those sorts. And he totally destroyed his health, his career, his studies, and along with that, a person only doesn't destroy himself or herself. It is exactly absolutely everybody around that person who gets destroyed. The family gets destroyed, and that is exactly what happened in my family. As a child, I have seen the very, very bad side of addiction, very, very bad side of these vices in life. Even being born into an affluent family, even being born in an educated family, even being born in a respectable family, this happened, and I have some serious incidents in my mind, and I still get nightmares. What I've seen, what I've experienced. And to cut things short, he died. My Moni Kaka, my younger uncle, died at the age of 29 with cirrhosis of liver. And it was like a shock, because he was like my best friend. I have learned so many good things from him. He was a superstar. He could have done so much in life, but sadly, like many, we read in the newspapers of all these celebrities and these things. We don't learn from these incidents that people in their lust and thirst of power and money and youth and talent and popularity, they start thinking that they are supermen. They start thinking that they are avengers. No, they are not. They are just human beings made up of blood, cells, muscle, tissue. If you put in poison inside your body, if you abuse your body, you are going to face the consequences. So many news all over. We post them, we share the news, we say RIP, etc., etc., but we don't learn from those incidents that they were the human beings who thought that they were invincible, but no, they are not. They thought that they were immortals. No, they were not. Anyway, Moni Kaka died at the age of 29, and it was like a shock to me because he was like my best friend. I took an oath as a child to spread my beliefs to everywhere, so that, another boy, another girl tries to understand and tries to live a life away from these vices, away from these addictions. I tried to explain to my friends at the school, ki kya yaar, why do you need these to enjoy life? Why can't you live a life without this and yet enjoy a very high, very fashionable, very cool life? Why? But easier said than done. I wouldn't be listened to. They used to tell, "Hey, chup karna, tumko kya jata hai? Tere baap ke paise se nahi tori kha raha hai, nahi pi raha hai. Tum chup karo. Don't lecture me." That is exactly what I faced as a student. And after passing out from the school, when I did my, engineering, I went to shipping, marine engineering. I used to serve for ExxonMobil. My job, as you know, it's like sailing around for 8 months, 9 months at trot. I had independence and money with me, dollars in my pockets. Even there, I saw my colleagues. I used to tell my colleagues, come on, you are earning money. Why are you trying to celebrate your life with alcohol, with cigarettes, with why? You have your family. All the money that you're earning, the doctors are going to take away at the age of 45, 50. Why are you doing this? Easier said than done. They wouldn't listen to me. They used to tell me, Bobby, chup kar. अरे यार क्या यार बोरिंग आदमी पैसा कमाता है दारू नहीं पीता है सिगरेट नहीं पीता है एंजॉय लाइफ एंजॉय करो. Well, they wouldn't listen to me. 2002, I left my job. I'm coming towards the present. 2002, I left my job and I jumped into a totally insecure profession called acting. Insecure and dark because I had no backing with me. I had nobody in this film world. I knew no one. And as you hear all these words, nepotism, etc., etc., from 2002 to 2006, end of 2006, I faced huge amount of, if you call it nepotism, if you call it struggle, if you call it insult, absolutely chaos in my life, but I stuck to my decision. I knew I was an artist inside. I was very good at, all these artistic avenues in school, in college. I was good in acting. I was good in debate. I was good in song, dance, etc., etc. Well, 2006 onwards, good work started coming up. I got a little bit of fame, a little bit of recognition. I took that opportunity. Whatever I was trying to do right from my child to propagate my beliefs, and nobody used to listen to me, humko chup karwa deta tha. I took this opportunity of a little bit of fame, whatever I've achieved, a little bit of recognition. Hum dega ki pehle kya hota tha, I used to tell 100 people will say, "Hey, chup kar." Now I'm seeing, if I'm saying 100 people, if I'm telling this to 100 people, at least one person is giving me this attention. So I took that opportunity and I started reaching out to schools and colleges everywhere, in cities, in villages, inside Calcutta, outside West Bengal, even outside India, and for free, not for money, not for any material gains. मेरे दिमाग में यही है कि I don't want any other family to be destroyed like my family. My target audience is that 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. They are the primary audience that I target, the middle school audience, because I know if you put a stop, if you put right values at that age, the impressionable age, chances of those boys and girls getting derailed are much lesser. I have done this for so many years. I've reached out to hundreds of schools all around the world, thousands of boys and girls face to face. And I'm very proud to say I've changed many lives. And that is the reason I'm doing it with so much of passion. Now coming to the present, what I have seen in my years as a social activist, working passionately against addiction and popular beliefs. It is not only against addiction that I'm fighting against popular trends, harmful popular trends. What I found out is in all these years, more than a decade that I've been fighting against, I found out in the past it was only substance abuse like cigarettes and alcohols and drugs. And now what this age of the internet boom and the digital boom, and this has brought in many online and digital addiction like harmful video games. Harmful video games simulate the crime, simulate the violence in such a real format that an impressionable mind, immatured mind forgets very soon the difference between real and virtual. forgets very soon that if they execute that violence or that crime in the real world, there are going to be consequences. That happens, and that is happening. There are hundreds of such examples. Our society has become increasingly violent, increasingly intolerant. The crimes against women and all has gone sky high. One example I want to put in front of you is that example of the New Zealand shootout. One boy, just imagine, a young boy, 18, 19 years of age, he takes a gun, puts a GoPro camera over here, goes into a religious institution and starts shooting at random, laughing and giving a commentary. That video has been banned. I've seen it from my journalist friends. That video has been banned, and I was shocked to see that boy shooting and giving a commentary, just like the games that you play, online games that you play. And the view of that video is like that online games. He's not a terrorist. He's not a religious fanatic. Then what is he? Why is he doing this? He's not a mad guy also. Why is he doing that? Just for fun. It's alarming. There are so many more incidents. One more addiction, digital addiction or online addiction, is addiction towards pornography. There are so many boys and girls as young as the 8th grader, 9th grader from schools write to me, Bobby Dada, Bobby Bhaiya, how can I get out of this addiction towards pornography? And that's an alarming situation we have, because increasingly boys and girls as young as 4th, 5th, 6th grader, everybody is getting hooked onto the smartphone and laptop because of the situation. They are dependent on this online medium. How do we stop? A boy or a girl does not know, uninitiated young boy or a girl, he or she is being fed by the dark side of the web. The only way is give them the correct options, give them the good light, good side of the internet also. And I do that in my sessions. I tell them that internet has immense power. Internet has the power to do so many good things for the society and for yourself. Why do you want to use the internet and the immense power and the immense possibility of internet only by playing video games that are violent to the core? Only by this one more incident, this Instagram scandal, the Delhi schools, upmarket boys and girls of Delhi schools as young as 12, 13, 14, online boys locker room case. They have been sharing despicable obscenities against women, against girls for years. They were not caught. When they were caught, when that news came into forefront, when somebody lost their life, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We know there are thousands of such chat rooms, thousands of such activities going on. What my target is to guide the youth, because I know youth is the power of the society, youth is the power of a nation. If you guide them towards light, the society will be bright. And if you let this darkness prevail in their life, the society will become dark. Just see how abusive, how intolerant, how insensitive we have become. Just go to the internet and see how much of cyberbullying, how much of insensitive sarcasm, how much of insensitive trolling is going on there. We don't think, especially the youth, you have to think, we don't think we are making fun of somebody. We are not thinking about the consequences. We are making fun of somebody to the extent that that person one day will get so depressed, so frustrated, so irritated, that person will end the life. That these are happening. We must take control. We must share positivity. We must share good things and not the dark things that we are sharing. That is my oath in life. I have taken my oath. Till the day I'm alive, till my last breath, I'll be sharing good things and only good things in my life and nothing else. And that is what I tell to the boys and girls all around the world, in schools, wherever I'm going, whether it's a big school like Julian Day or whether it's a school in the rural village of Sundarban. I keep on sharing these good things. Use the goodness and positivity that the nature, that the society, that the internet has to offer us. Use the good things. So this is the present. And now about the future. I always believe that past is a realization. We have done some mistakes in the past, learn from that. We have done some good things, constructive things in the past, learn from that and execute that in the present. Do not commit that same mistake in the present and capitalize on the good things that you have done in the past, in the present. Why? Because if you do that in the present, you are going to make your future very strong. You're going to make your future very bright and very constructive. I say this to all the young boys and girls. right from the age group of 11, 12, 13, 14, all the formative years. I keep on telling them, realize from the past, execute in the present, and make your future strong, secure, and bright, and share this goodness, share this brightness. Youth is the power. And I want to end whatever I have to say with what Sir Nelson Mandela says. I believe in the same thing. If you want to destroy a nation, you don't need nuclear bombs. You don't need atom bombs. All you need to do is destroy the youth of the nation. If the youth is destroyed, if that is the platform of a nation, because they are the power. In 10 years, 20 years, they are going to rule the world. If you can destroy that platform, that nation is destroyed. I don't want to let that happen. Till the day I'm alive, I'm going to fight for the youth. I'm going to, because डांट के मार के किसी को कुछ नहीं सिखा सकते. Today's age, they won't learn. They'll just shut you up. What I'm trying to do is giving them the brightest side, giving them the good options. Our society, our internet, these open platforms, open portals. There's a dearth of good options that they can follow. I want to give them the good options. I want to do it not for money, not for any material gains, but I don't want any other boy or girl.
My mic is on.
A family getting destroyed like my family was. And I want to do that all my life. Thank you so much.
The speakers have presented their views. Presentations have been shown. There is one question from Tony Panika from Saudi Arabia for Bobby sir. She says that she's grateful for her views, and all of us talked about an ideal way of life, how we can lead an ideal life. But she's asking whether molding thought processes is not actually changing their mindset in case that their self-confidence, their self-esteem that gets shattered, and whether changing or molding their thoughts would also lead to self-criticisms. Bobby sir, what do you think?
Thank you for that question, and thank you for hearing whatever I had to say. What I mean to say, it's not molding the thoughts. It's giving the right options. It's giving them the right thoughts. It's not molding the thoughts. You have to give them the right options. What I always believe at this scenario, this present scenario, the right options, the right choices of life, that is getting somehow diluted with all these virtual, what San said just now, or with all this virtual satisfaction, which is nothing, which means nothing, which are temporary. You don't know whom you are meeting online. You don't know whom you are sharing. You don't know these likes, these things, they don't matter. So what I mean to say is, if you give an impressionable mind, say a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, the proper thoughts, the right choices in life, it's not molding the thoughts. It's giving them the right thoughts, along with all the vices that are filtering in through these social mediums and through the wheel of life. The bad and the good both come to us. It's for us to filter, and we as elders, we as guardians, we as well-wishers, we need to let them understand how to filter. It's not molding. I would call it filtering. Let them learn filtering, because that is the only way possible. What I was telling is, abhi kisi ko, if you asking somebody to go against the popular trend, to go against the popular belief, what I do through my social awareness program, the first vibe I get is they're taking me as their enemy. The first vibe I get is they're becoming hostile. But as 5, 10, 15 minutes goes throughout my session, it has happened every time, they understand I'm the biggest well-wisher after their parents. All I'm asking them is to look after their health, to look after their career, and to look after their family. HCF, that is what I call. I don't mold their thoughts. I give them the two choices in life. The two choices are: live the life like me, without cigarette, without alcohol, without abusing, without disrespecting anybody, without cyberbullying, without trolling anybody, without any pornography in life. That is the life I lead. I give them that choice, and there is the other choice. They are free to choose any choice. I can't, impose my beliefs on anybody. I have to give them two choices and tell them why my choice is strong as ever and let them decide. And it happens more than often that they decide my choice, and it takes the other person who takes the other choice also takes a bit of a time to come to me. But I'm very hopeful and very optimistic that whatever I'm trying to do, I'm changing lives. I'm not molding anybody's thoughts. I'm only letting them understand or learn how to filter the good and the bad aspects of life and the society.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.